What makes tax season so complicated to the layperson? Is it too
Yes.
late for me to do anything to affect last year's returns that we're working on? It's January, which means that tax time is right around the corner. As stressful as you think it is, it doesn't have to be. And we're going to break down how to make it easier, all coming up next. Welcome to Office Hours by Fujikawa Associates, where we simplify tax planning and strategy. And we're your hosts. I'm Josh Baldwino, one of Derek's clients, and this is Derek Fujikawa, and he's the managing partner of Fujikawa Associates. Derek, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. This is about to be the busiest time of year for you.
Yes, it is.
There are so many things as an investor and now as a business owner and having a job. I'm not the easy case. There are a lot of people who are investing and making other moves with their money, also worry about this time. What makes tax season so complicated to the layperson?
I don't know if it's necessarily complicated. I think it's just the compression of everything being due all at once, especially on my end. Everything is due on April 15th, so it doesn't matter what's going on. It has to be done at that point. So it's a rush on my end, which in turn becomes a rush for my clients, right? They need to get me everything in order to do their tax return on time. So it's a matter of gathering documents, getting all the information that they need and getting that to me in a timely manner. So it can be a little stressful on both ends. Investment companies don't get their W or 1099s out until later, usually around mid-February, which doesn't give a lot of time until April 15th. That's a little bit of a rush there and just kind of pressure coming on all sides to get everything together.
Yeah, and I guess for the individual, we do this once a year, and regardless of how many times you end up doing it, it's always, you forget something.
Yes.
You don't know where to look for everything. You see the same thing almost for every single client, and it's the same document that everyone has to secure for either their job or stocks, rental properties. To make it easier, what is a quick starter list that we should be gathering now? What documents should we start to gather?
Sure. And I'm doing it right now. I'm sending out organizers to all my clients. In fact, I just dropped the batch off at the mail for the people that require paper, but I'm also sending out electronic organizers to all my clients. So everyone that's my client, yourself included, will get an organizer that shows what you had last year. And so to help you gather all your documents and make sure that you don't miss anything from last year. And then obviously won't capture anything new because that wasn't on your last year's return, but at least helps you organize everything that you had the prior year. And then from there, hopefully we've been talking throughout the year, so we know what we need to add to that for anything that's added throughout the year.
I'm gathering all these documents. I'll get a checklist from you soon. Talking about last year, is it too late for me to do anything to affect last year's returns that we're working on?
There's very little we can do for last year. There's a few things, retirement plans you can add to an IRA, a few little things that you have right now just after the end of the year, but really any major tax planning should have been done before the end of the year. So unfortunately, now that December 31st has passed, there's not a lot we can do to really affect your tax return.
So if I was trying to take extra deductions or find extra credits, you're telling me I'm too late for season, huh?
Yes, at this point, it's a little bit late. Like I said, there's a few things we can do, but our options are very limited.
Okay. Talking about credits and deductions, what are some of the major things that some of your clients are deducting or being able to write off?
So if you have a business, you have a lot more opportunities or options to write things off. You have at the end of the year, you can purchase equipment or accelerate expenses into the year to help offset maybe a high income year. As say a W-2 individual that doesn't have a business, there are things you could do like purchasing an electric car, putting solar on your house, things like that. I wouldn't say to do it just to get the tax credits, but if you need a new car, maybe consider an electric car and purchase that before the end of the year, and you can get up to a $7,500 tax credit on your return. If you've been thinking about solar, purchase a solar system, you can get an actual 30% credit on the total cost of the solar system on your current year tax return.
Okay. So that's talking about kind of future planning.
Yes.
And maybe setting expectations for clients. I know that obviously it's a very, very stressful and busy time for your team. How much like actual future planning for 2023 can we do in our session as we review the taxes, or should that just be a follow-up session?
Usually it's a follow-up session. There's some things that I see on the return that if I notice something that's glaring, we'll mention it. We can talk about it pretty quickly during tax season. But much of the planning will be done shortly after tax season, just because my time is so compressed and busy getting everything out the door with the compliance, the tax return section, that usually I'll take notes and then we'll circle back maybe late April or early May and then go over those things. There's still a lot of time throughout the rest of the year to make changes and adjust things that won't affect you too bad. You still have about 8 months left of the year. Unless it's something that's urgent and needs to be done right away, then we'll address it at that time.
Okay, fair enough. And I don't know if I'm going to be your easiest client this year. Actually, I probably know that I'm not.
Sure.
But so I can work my way up to your less difficult list. What are some things that I can be doing this year to improve the information that I give you?
A lot of it is staying on top of your record keeping. With regular stuff with investments and W-2 and that, you're going to get those summary reports at the end of the year. After the end of the year, the 1099s and the W-2s. Like right now, you'll be getting them for 2022 in the next month or so. But for businesses and other things, really just keeping really good record keeping and staying on top of it instead of catching up all in December, working on it month to month, and just, you don't have to do it every single day, but if you can keep on top of it and just not let it snowball into something that you just don't want to deal with and push it off until you absolutely have to deal with it in February when I'm asking for it, then that's always a huge help.
That is the plan for 2023, I promise, Derek.
I can hold you to that.
And how about paying estimated taxes? So for instance, I started a side business. Should I be thinking about paying estimated taxes or should I wait? What are some quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there's some specific requirements for estimated taxes. So the rule is that you need to pay in at least 90% of your total taxes through either withholdings or quarterly estimates. Now there's what they call the safe harbor rule, which allows you to pay in at least 100% of your prior year total tax through withholdings or estimates. And if your income is over 150, that bumps up to 110%. So if you just started a business this year, say you just had a W-2 job last year and your wages were enough to cover that, and then this year you start a small business, there could be some other factors that may require you to, but all things being the same as the year before, you wouldn't be required to pay quarterly estimates on your business income until the following year. Once that goes on your tax return and you see that bump up in your total taxes, and then that's when we use that safe harbor rule and use the prior year. So you're using the last year's tax as a guide for the current year taxes that you pay either through your wages or through quarterly estimates.
Gotcha. So new businesses, because we're all trying to figure everything out, there's a little bit of buffer there. That's good to know.
Yeah, just make sure that you set money aside. So new businesses, the important thing is don't spend it all. Make sure you set that money aside, because even though you're not required to pay it in quarterly, it is required to be paid in the following April. So if you don't have that money anymore the following April, then you're going to have to figure out a way to come up with it really fast.
And so what happens if I can't pay that on time?
So you have some options. One that I don't recommend is you can extend your return and pay it in October when you end up filing a return, but that doesn't avoid any penalties or interest or anything like that. So you're going to pay penalties on late payment, pay interest on everything. You just won't have a late filing fee. Your other option is you can do an installment agreement. So you can pay it off as long as you can pay it off within 5 years. I don't suggest pushing it out that long, but the IRS allows you about a 5-year window to pay off your current tax bill. And so you can pay it off in monthly installments. You have to file a special form. If it's under $25,000, it's pretty much automatic. You just file the form and they'll set you up with an automatic installment agreement. If it's over that amount, then you do have to apply for it. It's pretty not automatic even then, but I haven't seen too many that have been rejected even over that amount. But you do have to submit more paperwork. It's more of a kind of a credit check type of thing that you have to send into the IRS. And they'd rather get their money, so they'll work with you and help you work on getting that paid off.
At some point in time, they will come up. You know, there's different options.
Yeah. And you hear those commercials on the radio about the IRS coming to take your house and taking your bank account. Those are the last resort options for the IRS. They want you to pay your taxes and they'll work with you to get paid. They'll usually exhaust every option to try and help you get paid, get those payments in before they go through any extremes like that. But they make for good commercials for those companies though.
Is there anything else that you would want your client to know in terms of prepping for this season, or any other tips you can give them?
Really just be organized. The biggest thing is having everything organized, getting it to me on time, but having everything organized, ideally electronically. We use an electronic portal called Lisio where you can upload documents. If you give us paper returns, we scan it in and it ends up electronic anyway. So if you can get us electronically, then that saves us a step. And really just organizing everything. The biggest nightmare is getting a stack of unopened 1099s and envelopes and having to spend time opening envelopes and going through documents and figuring out what's relevant on. So yeah, that's probably my biggest piece of advice for that.
So as long as I pre-scan everything, assign them to whatever businesses and properties they are, I shouldn't be stressed as a client and you're happy.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. And I hope whoever's watching this can do that too. Derek, are there any last things you want to leave for the audience about tax prep or tax time?
Be kind to your accountant. We're really stressed out during that time, and we know that taxes are important. Everyone's taxes is important, but we're dealing with a lot of different people, and it's a tough time for everybody. We try and work with everybody, but like I said, it's just a busy time.
Got it. So be patient, obviously, because you are dealing with a lot, and it's as much as stressful as it is for individuals. It's that with all of your clients. So you're managing all of those emotions and expectations too.
Sure.
But if you are looking for a new CPA and you have questions for Derek and would like to help with your filing, definitely click the link down below to book a consultation. And thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And I will work on getting all of my papers off my desk in a nice organized fashion to you.
And I'll keep asking you for them.
Right on. Thanks, everyone. See you guys in the next one.
Thank you.